Recording is on.
Grand Rising, fam.
Grand Rising, fam.
How are you doing on this amazing King of Hearts Day? Wow. Excuse me.
Fine, right?
I know the heart season is here. And can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Hey,
y'all. Morning, I felt it. I think I felt the movement.
Okay, we know you felt it. Just get out of this. Heck, if you didn't feel it, I know you've been cloned. You've been waiting for this for 364 days.
Yes, everybody get in your feelings.
Get in your feelings. Get in
I
your
would be
feelings.
surprised if Gina had like a countdown this whole time.
I know, right? This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I know. It just the energy. Yesterday was interesting for me. The Ace of Clubs Leo was interesting for me yesterday. And I attribute it to having the King of Spades day. So having the King of Spades day and the Ace of Clubs is Venus to the King of Spades. I'm sorry, King of Spades day, and the Ace of Clubs is Venus to the I don't like that. I didn't like that. The King of Spades and the Ace of Clubs is kind of. I have a newfound understanding and respect for the King of Spades, because that Ace of Clubs being in Venus, that was a little bizarre. It was a little bizarre. I'm still sitting with it. It's all good in the hood, but it was the energy. The energy was totally noticeable. When you have energy that's so powerful. Well, King of Spades is the most powerful card in the deck. So having that this year in Uranus, and then yesterday was, I'm in my rebirth week. So this is my 45 is your rebirth. So I'm in my rebirth. So I am 86. I would say 86. I would be 86 years old this time at my rebirth, but y'all know I'm not 86. So I'm 86 weeks in, and this is, for the year. So I went through 86 weeks, and now I'm on my rebirth with the 8. So I got 86 weeks of experience. And how do I use it? Because it would be 86 years, because I was on plate 86. So I would have had 86 years of experience, and now I'm using it. So now I got to use the 86 weeks of experience, right? So it's just been interesting to feel that Ace of Clubs yesterday. I was like, wow, this is really, it was a much more noticeable, powerful energy, because it was coming through the King of Spades. And I was like, wow, because being able to would say manage relationships and manage your emotions is not necessarily an easy thing to do, but the King of Spades did pretty good with it yesterday. It was pretty interesting to watch me be able to manage my emotions with that King of Spades. Does that make sense?
It does to me.
It does to me, because I think the King of Spades, as powerful as it is, that is one thing you have to have control over, is the emotions when that King of Spades come up, because we know the low side, it can be probably not the most gentle card. So it would be important to be able to manage your emotions. Same thing with today being a King of Hearts. That is being able to master the feelings. Don't let them run you.
For sure. So yeah, it was a powerful day for me yesterday. It's definitely a marker. I felt on the Six of Clubs was a marker for me. Something amazing happened on the Six of Clubs day, and has been unfolding ever since. And I'm just here for it, in a way and not in a way. I can't do anything about it, but go with it. But it is definitely, yesterday was definitely helped me get some texture to it, to the transformation of, where I feel I'm going. So yeah, it was real good. So today is the King of Hearts, and it's the beginning of heart season. And when we look at the change and go, in a month, because we're still in July, and we're at the end of July, and it just made me think about what is it about this time that we need to be paying attention to, because this is, we had one heart and a cup in the beginning of the month, right? Right? Then we have a heart
At the end of June.
At the end of June. So we had one heart at the end of June. And when I look at the King of Hearts and the placement of it, it just gives so much texture to what we're doing in this heart season, this brief heart season, because the King of Hearts is in Mars. So it's a game changer, because Mars is a shakeup. It's a game changer. So this is this time where we gotta change something. It's something that we're coming out of club season. We know the process. We've done that mental work. Now we're going in with the King of Hearts, and what is it that is going to change? With what season we just came through, because that's what Mars is, and we're sitting in Mars Mercury. So the communication style, how we communicate, how we pour from our heart, from the master. The King of Hearts would be the master. The King of Hearts is the throne. This is the compassionate, the father, the initiate. All of the things that we think of in a leader, we have now in Leo season, and it makes perfect sense. This is Leo season. So we're looking at a change. There's a change that we have to make individually, first of all, and it's definitely going to be something to do with the purity of the water that we have that flows through us, because it's blood, but it's still liquid, it's still fluid. And when we pour, we don't pour blood, we pour, the essence of who we are, our communication. So we pour from that communication vessel. So with this King of Hearts, Mars energy today, and in Leo season, we're looking at what we're going to be pouring from. The King of Hearts displaces the challenging karma. The supporting karma cards and Nine of Spades, and we know that's the most powerful nine in the deck. So the King of Spades is supported in that journey that it has to take. It has to be, the King of Spades is gonna. King of Hearts is always going to be on a quest for something. It's a heart. It's textual. So the quest, the protection, being the head is something that the Nine of Spades is supporting the King of Hearts in, because the Nine of Spades is that cycle. Nine's a cycle. We manage ourselves through the nine. We have things that we do. We are growing, we're ebbing, we're flowing. And the nine of spades is one of the most powerful. It is the most powerful nine. But like all spades, it has to have a vision. It has to know what it's doing, where it's going, and how it's going to get there. So it's supporting that King of Hearts and knowing that you have to have a plan. So we got to get a plan together during this brief heart season, because the nine is starting from the ace to the nine, and it's the graduation of all of the information that you have obtained. But the nine of spade has to have that vision, because when I think of a nine, I think of a nine standing on top of the universe and looking down and saying, "What is it that I need to do?" There's so much that has to be done. You're coming from the ace. You're going through everything, all of the essence of every attribute. So much that I have to do. So how do I start? And that's where the spade would come in, because spades, when we think of spades and we think of the season that spades are used, you go out and you till the soil. You go out, you find that spot, that the richest soil that there is, and that's where you start cultivating it. That's where you start, where you're going to plant your crop. So the nine of spades is saying you have to go out during this hot season, and you have to find that place where you can plant, where you're going to put down your seeds and grow your seeds. So when we look at where we're going to end up at, we're going to yield a good crop, because you can't go out in spade season without fortification. Spades do not live out in the world. Spades are the spirit, the spirit of it. So when spades go out in the world, they have to fortify themselves with the knowledge and with the information that they have. So when we look at that nine of spades supporting that King of Hearts, we have so much that we can build from. We are graduating. We've come through whatever it is that we needed to come through. And now that nine of spades is saying, I got you. So when we look at this Mars action, this Mars energy today, this passion, the conversation, that we're going to have through this King of Hearts, then we go over to that challenging karma card, which is the Two of Clubs. And we know the Two of Clubs is about the union. It's that mental process. It's that mental thought process that we're having and communicating from. And it's your challenge to know that this is a conversation that is needed to happen. But it's a different kind of conversation, because it's a king. A king is not going to talk to everybody, and everybody can talk to a king. So the king of the Two of Clubs having the Ace of Spades as a challenging karma card is taking it to a whole new height of transformation. What is the transformation that we're going to have through that King of Hearts? Because the King of Hearts is a protector. So the conversation is going to be a little different coming from that level. And not everybody can embody that. Not everybody is here to have that kind of conversation on that level, because not everybody is a leader, but we have to receive it. We may not be able to have that conversation, but we got to get into the vein of being coachable and teachable, because the conversation has to happen. And it's the environment card for the United States this year. So that tells you how much this conversation is needed when it's sitting in such a big place. And the President of the United States is the King of Hearts. So we know that the King of Hearts is on Front Street. We know that today is a marker. It's something that we have to look at and pay attention. And we definitely got to take we have to look at our heart. This is a time where we've gone through so much and we're getting ready to go through something else. But the King of Hearts is that energy that is supposed to get us through it. Whether or not the president gets us through it with his energy or not, we're required to be doing this work. We got to do the work. We have to do the work. The cards are saying that this is the energy that's out here, and this is the energy that we have to use. So we have to do the work regardless of anything else that's happening out there. And today we have Mars, as the backdrop for us to take that action, because that's what Mars does. So anybody today, this is Leo season, yeah, but if you're a king of hearts, you got Mars. Your energy field starts from Mars, Mercury. So your communication style is being a game changer. So we're going to see some changing in the game today. What you got, Gina?
Well, it's fascinating because, I love to tie in the astrology to the cards too. And today, Mars is at 29 degrees Leo. So it's at the last degree of Leo today, which to me is very King of Hearts-ish. And then we have Mercury just moved into Leo, I believe, last night. So it all lines up. And then the 9 of Spades being like, it's the end of, that is the complete, like Mars has done its cycle through Leo. It's ending today. It'll move to Virgo. So that makes sense with the 9 of Spades being the karma card, because it's ending its path, its trek through Leo, and it'll move on probably later tonight or tomorrow. So that's dope how it all lines up. And then the passion of the 2 of Clubs loves that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so Leo, and then it shows Mercury moving into Leo. That's that big, dramatic, speak from your heart, speak with courage type energy, which that can be 2 of Clubs-ish. And so it's just really dope to hear it and then knowing what's happening cosmically and how it all lines up.
Yeah, and that's a critical degree. So
Yeah.
This is the conversations and the things that we're going to be having going forward are coming from a different viewpoint. This isn't conversations where we can afford to miss an opportunity. There's a lot of co-opting going on out there with people who have the vaccination as opposed to people who don't. And that's how we lived it. We lived this. We clearly understand the Jack of Diamonds. The Jack of Diamonds is definitely going to be able to play both sides of the fence and play them well. But we got an opportunity to right size the ship and use the energy in the way that it's meant to be used. Because Gina just pointed out all of the attributes that are inside of this card are dancing out in the universe for us. Like, see me, I'm here. I got you. Just get in alignment, get your intentions together, because this is heart season, and this is why this is so critical is because if people get sick during heart season, it's going to be different kind of sick. You know what I mean? That's the heart being sick is a whole different illness. This is what's pulsating through your body. This is your life force. So when your life force isn't working optimally, it's a different kind of sickness that you have. You're gonna go out of here a little faster than normally. You know what I mean? Because that's the stopping of your heart. The stopping of your heart, that's pretty much a game changer. So we don't want that for our like when we change our oil, because our oil is gunking up and we know that it's time to change it. The check engine light comes on. We got check engine light coming on right now. We gotta change our oil, and we gotta change our conversations. We can't have these low vibrational conversations around each other. We can't have the conversation of, oh, if you didn't do this, this is going to happen to you. And we can't have those kind of conversations in this time, because this energy that's out here is definitely an upgrade. It's beneficial for us if we know how to play in that field. You get sick all the time and you don't even know you're sick when your body is able to move it through. And that would be all of your organs working together to move wherever it is through your body, and it be expelled through your skin through all parts of your body, stuff comes out. When you get a boil or you get something I remember I got a boil. I used to get these boils, and I went to the doctor, and I was like, I can't take this anymore. He said, sweetheart, you are one of the most healthiest people I know. He said, because people don't get boils. He said the boil of this poison is trying to come out your body, is trying to tell you something. So you should be happy. Yeah, it hurts, but it's coming out. And I looked at it in a whole different perspective of my body, my blood. He was saying your blood needs to be cleaned. So that's why this is coming out. And it's coming out your through your whatever glands and all of those different things. And it just made me want to know so much more about health and the body and the science of the body and how it works and stuff like that. Because when the body is getting ill, it's breaking itself down to heal. We think that we got to heal it, but no, we got to take care of it. So when it needs to heal, it does that by itself. As a little girl, my body had to heal because my mother did not give you anything. I don't care how you felt. You might have 50 broken limbs, shot, and I don't know how many different things, and she may consider taking you to the doctor. But my mother gave you a cup of tea and said, go lay down. That was it. And she said it with such love and care that you just felt good about going to lay down. Go ahead. And when I woke up, I always felt so amazing, just from just getting that rest. And then if it was really critical, we had that what is it, the anti-venom to everything, ginger ale. It's like, have a cup of ginger ale. It's like that's the medicine for the it was just amazing. So I never had anything over the counter growing up as a child. And as I got older, if I tried to take anything, the dyes and the stuff later on, they made me sicker than whatever, the cough or something, because I do have a history of bronchitis. So that stuff made me feel so much worse. And so going back to learning about the herbs and stuff and the cayenne and the lemon and getting the mucus and stuff out. I haven't suffered with bronchitis in decades. So this is a time for us to really look at ourselves and look at our heart and look at our body and get ready fortifying. Why? Why? Does anybody know why this is a critical time of year for us? Anybody there?
I don't know. I'm listening.
We're going into the fall, and we have to build up our bodies to get through the winter.
We're sweating now, so we lose a lot. So you do want to, whereas when we talked about the winter, you don't want to eat like the heavy now. It's, the time, not to say that you should eat heavy. It's kind of hard, but it's so hot. But you do lose a lot during the summer with the sweat. So you want to make sure you're restoring your body back up, because as you get ready for the fall and then back into the winter time, you're replenishing what you lose in this heat.
So this is a time of year where we're starting that process of, building ourselves up. And the first thing that the universe is telling us about is our heart. That's really cool. It's really dope, and it's really beneficial because that's the life force. Your heart is your life force. If your heart is off, yeah, pretty much everything is off, right? And you don't even necessarily know it. Young people in the last 20 years have just start dying of heart attacks. That's alarming. That's alarming, for a young person's heart. Not for someone not to have known that their heart was had some sort of an illness. So yeah, we get a chance to look at ourselves right now in this time with this brief heart season. and and see what we need to be starting to work on going into the fall of the year. Because the fall of the year, what do bears do? They hibernate, you know. So we're not, like Gina said, we need to be looking at our nourishment. This is the time of the year where we eat the summer fruits, for a reason, and there's herbs and things to support us and stuff like that. We're not necessarily supposed to be eating meat, we're not supposed to be eating those kind of things in abundance, because it's you know not that time of year where we should be storing that stuff during the summer. So we eat lighter. People eat more salads, and people eat lighter things during this year. Even because if you eat something heavy now, man, it's so hot in Georgia now. I have a furnace. Whatever I eat goes in my stomach, and it becomes fuel. And that's how our body is. It's fuel. So what do you need? What kind of fuel do you need? So I gotta be mindful. It's 90, almost 100 degrees. I can't afford to have a furnace right now. That means that I am putting an enormous amount of pressure on my heart and on my organs. So I can't eat like that. I have to eat things that are lighter and things that are going to cool me, and there are herbs that I can drink that cool me. And I got to be aware of that, because this is a time of year where you could stroke out, with that pressure from the heat and the pressure from the food and the pressure on your heart. So barbecuing and those ribs and all of that kind of stuff, I'm like, wow, not such a good idea to be eating like that right now in this heat, and then compounding it with the alcohol and the other things that people do, that you can see the disease that people have in their bodies. So in this heart season, the 9 of spades is definitely about your health. It's all about your health. What are things that you need to change and let go of during this time that is you're supporting and doing, but we don't necessarily know about eating for the seasons, because we don't have seasonal food. They have watermelon in the middle of the winter and people eat it. And I watch people who have they have low blood, because they stay cold all the time, eat watermelon. And you don't want to do that. Watermelon cools you. It makes you cold. So you're now making your body do extra to try to warm itself up. And that's a disease. You being cold all the time is a disease that you gotta be very careful of, because that's gonna turn into something chronic. That's telling you there's something that you got to look at to figure out what is off balance, so you can get your body to work in with the elements. Being cold all the time and eating salads. If you're a cold person, you don't eat salad, because your body is cooled already, and salads cool you. And you don't eat lettuce, because lettuce is roughage, and that just goes through your system and is very damaging to your organs. And I know people think eating salads is it's not. That's not. You eat a salad maybe once a month, but salads are very irritating to your organs. So you don't want to be eating salad. You don't want to eat anything every day. And that's the thing, the variety of it. But lettuce is not your friend at all. And kale, you have to be careful of all green things, because they filter through your organs. And that is your organs have natural things in it that you're filtering, that you're making it work harder to filter through things that it can't hold. And definitely don't drink kale juice. If you want to drink kale juice once in a while, don't drink kale juice every day. I know people feel you don't want to do that. That is very toxic to your body. And you never want to mix fruit and juice together. But we definitely have to look at how we're eating and the things that we're doing to get into the winter with this variant. That's the bottom line, because the variant is a cold. And when we hit the last of Saturn square Uranus, we won't hear anything about this anymore. We won't hear with the configurations and stuff up there. All of these things are changing. It's going through what it's going through, but we won't be hearing about this. The last time it hits, it will become some sort of a flu, and it's like that now. I know so many people who have it. And some are really ill, and some just feel like they got an annoying cough. So it depends on your body and how your body is processing that whatever virus that it is. It's a virus. And your body is supposed to recover from viruses. Period. We have viruses. That's what the world is about. Viruses that are not supposed to kill you. They're supposed to evolve into something that doesn't kill the host. All of the viruses and all of the measles, the mumps, and all of those things that were eradicated because they knew they couldn't kill the host. It was not because of the vaccinations. It's because you can't have a virus that's going to kill a host. What are you going to do? So viruses mutate naturally, and that's scientific. So the vaccination and stuff like that is definitely developed, for I guess in some way, shape, or form to help. But viruses mutate and cancel themselves out all by themselves. There's so many things out there that we don't know about. But this time of year, we want to get prepared. We do, because the cards are pointing at a lockdown, and they're definitely pointing at you being home again with your children and your loved ones and your family and stuff that you may not necessarily, I know so many people who go to work to get away from their family. People that go to work, they have work husbands, work wives, people have food, they come together. Work is a real place, you know what I mean? And there's some people that look forward to work, and they don't have that kind of love for home, right? So that's difficult. And this is a 4 horse decade. We can never forget the work that we're supposed to be doing in this 4 horse decade. It's all things home, right? So you want to get out of the home, and the universe is clearly saying, nah, y'all need to be in the home, right? So the people who are working from home and, enjoy being at home, it's a win-win for them. But people who have a whole life at work, it's going to be difficult, right? Because there are people who look forward to going to work, right? They look forward to it. They enjoy work. They enjoy their what they getting out of the house. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see through this lockdown how work is going to look. How many more businesses are going to have to close their doors and stuff like that. So this heart, passion of this heart with this Mars starting, it's gonna definitely have us looking at stuff differently. Because we've been looking at stuff through the diamonds and through the clubs for a minute, and that's work. Diamonds and clubs is the work. Diamonds are the managers and clubs are the workers. And we just go back and forth from managing and processing, managing, processing. Now we're in the hearts where it's time to look at things differently. And for some people today, it could be difficult. It could be people out there right now that are like, whoa, what happened? Whoa. What's this energy? What cards do you think would give most pause today with the change of this energy?
I'm pulling up the spread.
So I had a chance to look at the spread before I got in the car, and I'm like Gina. I look at the astrology, and Jupiter goes back into Aquarius today at 29th degree. So I looked at the composition between the Two of Diamond, Jupiter card for today and the Uranus card, which is the 8 of club, and it's a 10 of spade.
Ooh.
So it's gonna be some hard work coming out of this day. I think I saw yesterday that Biden is trying to force contractors and federal government employees to get the vaccination, or they can opt out in some kind of way. But it's going to be an interesting day to see what unfolds with him, because at first it was voluntary, and if you wanted the vaccination, you get the vaccination. And now it seems like it's a push for you have to get it, and that's, I don't know how they're going to manage that. Like, that's weird to me, because it should be a choice, especially for adults.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
And this year, it's the 10 of spades is displacing the King of Hearts.
So there you go. Okay.
Wow.
And with Jupiter moving back into Aquarius retrograde, that makes sense, Leah, because the 10 of spades. I see the 10 of spades as the mass population. Because it has this stuff. Exactly. It's all the numbers in it. So it is like what we talk about shutting, because I believe when the lockdown happened the first time, Jupiter was in Aquarius. And then it moved, and now it's, so I see that playing out with them trying to, either get, like, they'll use this to put us back, at home. And then the way you come out is by getting the shot, and that's people have, that's where choices are. I mean, I'm in a lot of natural groups, and a lot of the women are, because most of their husbands work for large companies, and what should we do? So there's a lot of back and forth about this right now, and how to maneuver through this. And I agree with you. It should be a choice. It should be a choice for every single person, even the kids, because they start coming after the kids, and I have to reevaluate my life. I don't know what they won't be going to public school. Yeah, and then that's the other thing. So then Gwinnett County here, which is the largest school district in New Hampshire, they have mandated masks no matter what. So that means the other school districts are going to align with that. Yeah, they'll follow it. They're going to follow it because, I just really wish the governor would say one thing and then all the superintendents follow that, instead of each district coming up with their own rules, because it's confusing. And I work in a school district, so it just gets like, why doesn't the governor just say, this is what we're doing, and then all the superintendents fall in line, and then we just have that as the standard?
Well, Mars and Jupiter is also in opposition also, so I see, as far as maybe particular policy or laws, restricting movement or any particular action of us, getting out of exploration as far as our local areas. So I don't know, as far as anything coming up and as far as the lockdown coming, I could see that being presented, with that retrograde, with Jupiter going into Aquarius, maybe certain things that are, and also Saturn is in Aquarius as well. So, you can see those restrictions and laws coming out. I think it may be especially evident around like the 8th as well, if I'm not mistaken. I just have to go back and check.
So when
it's the 8th. You're right. The new moon in Leo is going to be on the 8th. It's about 14 degrees of Leo, and there's also you're right about the opposition of Jupiter with Mars, which exacerbates any type of concurrently over abundance of energy decisions, and the fact that it is conjuncting the fixed star Regulus. Regulus actually has a significance with leaders, royalty and so forth. So this could be another, as it was, interesting that you guys were bringing up Biden and the major decisions, but it may not necessarily only be Biden. It might be another executive decision, so to speak, or a choice that could be manifest too with Jupiter. Jupiter is right now currently 0 degrees Pisces. It can't get no further than this. It is practically, I would say, in Aquarius, just by degrees. Also, I thought it was very interesting because I have an actual astral clock sitting when I'm looking at the show, and I'm looking constantly placing it, and exactly where my location is located. And the Mars was usually, actually, I've seen some of it. I wasn't quite sure of it, but when the full moon happened in Aquarius, it was like 1 degree of Aquarius, but it wasn't that far from, well, let's say approximately from Saturn. So I actually seen in the moon astrology does rule women, and it does deal with the public as well. So the fact that it is in Aquarius, it happened, and the United States chart has Aquarius moon. That's 27 degrees, which is not really hitting anything else, but I've seen the Saturn, and it was kind of a wide call, it was a judgment call, but I did see that would be an implementation of some type of restriction again with the public because of Saturn is right to goes nearer to it as well.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, when we look at the Ten of Spades, we look at it, the King of with the displacement of the King of Hearts, we know that we need to know what that Ten of Spades is doing. So we have to find a marker to see what we know. The Ten of Spades is the mystic triangle, and the mystic triangle is emotion. It's a emotion. It's something getting ready to happen. When you're sitting in the mystic triangle, that's the beginning of life, right? That's where life starts on that journey for you to discover. So it's discovery time. So the Ten of Spades displacing the King of Hearts, sitting with the King of Hearts. It's about discovery. And discovery for the Ten of Spades is a 6-year process to the center of the universe, to the Ten of Diamonds. So we're looking at some sort of a discovery process that the universe has us on with that King of Hearts energy. What is it that we have to discover? And we know that the Ten of Hearts is the 10 of Spades has all 10s in it, but 10s is the one. 10 is I. 10s are you. 10s are that power of and this is Leo season, and we know Leo is the I, it's the you, and the King of Hearts Leo. So this is about you. So what are you going to do with that Ten of Spades is the key, because all of the stuff that's happening in the universe is pointing to these things happening and not having anything to do with what the United States is doing. So what are you going to do with that Ten of Spades is the key, because this is starting something. And when we look back, we want to look back at time. Like I said, these cards are markers. And if we look back at time, the Ten of Spades was in the mystic triangle in 2001. Does anybody remember 2001?
Absolutely. That was another eventful year.
9/11.
Right. So we have a marker, and we have been in that this year. We've come through that several weeks ago. If we look back at when we were sitting there, because we're on plate 51, right? So how many weeks ago? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. This is what was happening 6 weeks ago in the United States. What was happening? Does anybody have any remembrance of anything that happened 6 weeks ago in the United States?
That building fell? You talking about the building falling? Was that 6 weeks ago? I'm trying to think of certain things.
I don't think that was 6 weeks ago. But anybody that Googled 6 weeks ago, Google what was going on 6 weeks ago in the United States. We came through the pre-birth. We all felt it. We felt 44. We came through 44. And we can go back on the calendar and we can unpack all of this from that time to now to see what that Ten of Spades is doing.
They let Bill Clinton out. Bill Cosby.
That was 6 weeks ago. Jupiter went retrograde. Was it Jupiter retrograde 6 weeks ago?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the exact event, but yeah, I'm sure Bill Cosby. That's when Jupiter went retrograde.
Okay, but Google it. Google when Jupiter went retrograde, and you can see the date, and you can see the date that it went retrograde, because this is significant. These are significant markers for us to see what that Ten of Spades is doing and what it's telling us to do. Because the Ten of Spades at 65, displacing the King of Hearts is telling you something. When we look at the karmas and we follow the karmas, we know where the karmas are going to, right? So with it displacing the King of Hearts, what does that tell us?
Well, Jupiter retrograded on June 20th, right on the solstice, summer solstice. But I have to Google to see what the significance of what was going current event. But that's a major change anyway, astrologically or astronomically.
So what was happening, what was happening in the United States? Because we're looking at that we're at the end, when we look at 6 weeks from then, it's a 6 weeks journey for the Ten of Spades to be in the center of the universe. So where we are today, where this week, the United States, this is the weekly for the United States, the Ten of Spades is in the sun. So the Ten of Spades is in the sun this week. So this is very potent and powerful energy that we're under with that Ten of Spades. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I had two back channel messages. Someone was mentioning the election fraud and also the eclipse that took place around that time.
Right. And you have to look in your personal, what was going on with you personally during that time, because this is leading up to something. These are markers, and that Ten of Spades is pretty much one of the most powerful markers that we can have, because that's what we started at. When we started in this world, we started with the Ten of Spades. The Ten of Spades is the card that started us off and gave us that when babies are born and they come into the world, they're coming into the world with that Ten of Spades. So babies are coming into the world with that health, with that power, with that drive. Babies back in the day was, when they were born, they are strong. You couldn't do nothing to a baby that came on this plane. Babies didn't change until you started feeding them the bullshit that we feed them. But when babies were born, they would say the mother couldn't do nothing for 8 weeks. The baby was immune to everything. The baby was a superpower back in the day. It was born with a Ten of Spades.
The only thing I can see jumping out as Google is about Texas starting a ban on abortion. That's what's coming up, and they call it the Heartbeat Act. Pardon me. And the bill of miscarriage. That's all I see in Alabama with abortion. That's all coming up for me. And Bitcoin as well did a leap high at that point too. It kind of rallied up on that point there.
So what is Bitcoin doing this week?
It's rising. It's on an uptick right now.
So think about your health. Think about what's happening with you individually. And then you get a chance to see where the energy is going. There are other things that, we can discover looking in, definitely Googling the last, this would be 5 weeks. But energetically, I'm pretty positive there are things that are going on that, like I said, like I said back then, that these are going to be things that are subconscious. And it's definitely going to be things that you got to be in that energy field to be able to pick up on. Because this is the times that we in. Back then, it was a big ritual. We have had several big rituals that we talked about. And we talked about a lot of relationship things, and we talked about a lot of things in this class from that time. Right. So when we are looking at this King of Hearts right now, and it's displacing this ten of spades for the United States, and this week the ten of spades is in the sun. This is the I. This is you. Ten of spades is you. So the conversations and all of the stuff that's being co-opted and stuff like that, if it's that easy, then Jack of Diamonds doesn't have to work harder. Then oh well. It is what it is. You know, people have succumbed to the shenanigans of it, you know, because with that ten of spades displacing the King of Hearts, he knows it's me. I'm the president of the United States. I can push through anything that I want to push through if I get in that playing field, and there's opposition. There's no opposition to me. You have a country. You have millions of people, and all I hear is woe is me. So there's backstory and a lot of stuff that's going on. And because we have the amazing internet where people now don't have to go out in the world, they don't have to go to their local representatives' offices. They don't have to do anything now because they have social media. See where that's getting you? You know, people don't have to do anything now. You know, people say, okay, it's mandatory that you wear a mask, or people disagree with stuff, and they disagree with it on social media. So they know that it's not that hard to set the tone and use the energy in the way that they want to use it, as opposed to the ten of spades being the I. I'm the power. That's power. Ten of spades is a 4 diamonds week. Ten of spades is the transformation card, the I. Having all the attributes available to it, but you know, it's been co-opted. Been co-opted by shenanigans, because it doesn't play out that way. We go back to 2001. What was going on in 2001? 2001, look at the shenanigans that people say around 9/11. Think about it. You know, think about the whole enchilada that you heard from then to now, and just think about today. Think about today. You have a field that people play in. The events and things change, but the energy is the energy. And this is 9/11 energy. Think about that. Think about that. What was the country doing? The country was rallying together and being supportive against a fake war. So we're being rallied against a fake war. It's a fake war, but it's a war. It's a spiritual war, but it's still fake nonetheless.
This is I was gonna say, this is really interesting to me because I was just sharing with Rashad and Angel that we're on as a collective, we're on plate 65. But today I'm on plate 65 as well. And the King of Hearts. My Mercury is the Ten of Spades, and it's displacing the King of Hearts. And that's the same thing as the United States spread. So I just thought that was interesting.
Right. So how do you feel?
I feel pretty good. Yesterday was an amazing day. And so today it just feels the same. It feels pretty good. I've been working on every other day. The King of Hearts is my Mercury on my spread or support, whatever it's doing. And so I feel like this year, last year, I have been getting prepped to be the best King of Hearts that I could possibly be. Because for 34, on plate 34 next year, that's my Mercury for that year. And so I definitely feel like I've been prepped. And this, me being at the end of my Saturn 52-day period, I've been set down to really sit and work on my emotions. And just, that's been a challenge for me my whole life. But the cards and the Grand Solar spreads are helping me with that. As I said before, my past life card was the King of Hearts. And my dad, who I don't have a relationship with, he is the Five of Spades King of Hearts as well. So I'm really intrigued by the King of Hearts energy. I want to understand it. I've always wanted to understand it. Yeah, I feel really good though.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it sounds like from our conversations, Nick is like definitely making a rally, and people was kind of sending me stuff on the back channel as well about, and that's kind of what I was thinking when you were talking about the King of Hearts, as far as what is it building up to do, where it's getting the support from, and what is the rally of the journey that it's taking, right? So looking at certain things that's been taking place. Someone was saying Biden met with Putin in Geneva. So, looking at the rally as far as that Biden is taking maybe around the road and the things that he's implicating, and what is his agenda. We're talking about like the shutdown coming, so looking at the events that's kind of taking place, also about the Jupiter around that particular time. I believe a lot of restrictions was lifted as well, So what is happening with that, and how is that after it's being lifted, how it was kind of like a false alarm with the retrograde, around that time when Jupiter going in retrograde, it was kind of like a false alarm of them with it being stated within retrograde, then seeing where it is going now going forward, how it's going to be that lifting of the shutdown or people restrictions are going to be recalled or they're going to.
So when does Jupiter go direct?
October.
What day?
18th.
So Jupiter goes direct on a 4 clubs day. So if Jupiter, it went retrograde on, what was the day it went retro? What was the card?
4 clubs, you said?
What day did it go retrograde?
Oh, that was on the 20th. Let's see. It was in June, right? Was it around the 20th? I believe it was around the 20th on the 10 of clubs day.
So it went. So we need to know the day so we can see what.
Yeah, it was the 20th. It was the 20th.
So it went retrograde on the 10 of clubs, and it goes direct on the 4 of clubs. So that tells you what you were supposed to be doing during that time, right? Because this is saying that there's going to be change. The 10 of clubs challenging karma cards is Jack of Spades. So this is telling you there's going to be change for sure. Change is coming. The supporting karma cards are 4 of spades. So this change is telling you that this is a beneficial change, right? And the coming out on the Four of Clubs day, and the Four of Clubs is Jupiter right now. So the energy being co-opted for you feeling that it's going to be restrictions it's really telling when you think about what the universe is doing, because if it goes direct on a card that is an entitled card, one of the most entitled cards this year is a Four of Clubs, because it's displacing the Ten of Diamonds. It's sitting in Jupiter. So the Four of Clubs is getting every desire that it wants this year. So Jupiter going direct on that day is saying, what work did you do during that retrograde that you're going to benefit from? Because the Four of Clubs is a card of mental peace. So if you don't have mental peace right about now, they've done their job. They've done their job. They've done their job pretty well, because Jupiter is not a planet that you would necessarily have to, well, you never should have to be worried about Jupiter. So Jupiter retrograde is a blessing, because you're getting a chance to go back and to look and to fix things, right? So you didn't, especially being teachable, being coachable is a big thing for what's happening out there with how they're co-opting and how they're affecting people. So they're definitely using that Ten of Clubs very well for their benefit. But how do you use that Ten of Clubs and that Jack of Spades for your benefit in Jupiter? How do you do that in Jupiter? It's coming out on the Four of Clubs, and the Four of Clubs is sitting in the center of the universe. So everything that they're saying, everything that they're doing is an illusion. And it goes back to how you look at when the devil says, I can't touch you. All I can do is suggest stuff to you. And the things that are being suggested are so potent, people run with it. And this is the invention of social media, because people believe that they're doing justice when they're having all of these conversations. You're the same person as that person. This is one coin and it has two sides. And you're feeding each other, because one can't exist without the other. So you're not necessarily different. You're not necessarily better. You're different, because they put it out, you run with it. That's the wheel. That's the advantage of social media. That's the advantage of social media, is with the algorithms of it. None of this is real, but in your mind, it is. None of this is real. It's all an illusion, but it can become reality because you've now made it reality. All I did was suggest it. I suggested this. I can't necessarily make it happen. You can't. The vaccination hasn't gone through any of the protocols needed, and people don't even think about that. All the protocols that need to go through hasn't gone through. You've gone around this, you've gone around that, because they don't care. They don't care. They know that this is it. This is the Pluto return comes and they get a restart. They don't care. They really don't care. They don't have to do anything because they're getting a reboot. So we can pull the plug and we can let the drain is just circling and everything is going down the drain, and it doesn't matter because we're going to get a reboot, because Pluto is going to drag the hell out of it, and then we get a chance to see where where we stand on the other side. It's an all or nothing game right now. It's an all or nothing game. And social media is definitely the catalyst to it, because conversations, the words and stuff that you have, they travel, and they're traveling through countries, and people are comparing notes and how is this going and how is that going, and this is what they're going to do, but they're not doing anything. No, they're not doing anything but suggesting it. This is a suggestion. And with this King of Hearts, we got to be very careful. because that's a powerhouse. That is a powerful card. It's Mars. It's going to change the game. So everything that Biden is talking about changes the game. It's a game changer.
Yeah, I think it also puts him in a position where he feels really empowered to conquer or do anything that he may want to do at this moment as well with that Ten of Spades sitting in his house. And just seeing the lockdown that Fred was speaking and talking about, the essence of war and when it's implemented, especially during these particular times, because we know that they use war as a tactic or as as a money game. So looking at the aspects of it sparking an economy, with him trying to boost his relevance and his focus and get everyone on side, right? Because I feel like a lot of times political leaders use our army as a way to get the government or the majority of the money on their side, because that's where the money is, right? So just looking at his tactics and maybe his implementation, his communication with other Afghanistan and Pakistan, as far as maybe particular war that could be coming up, because the King of Hearts, and I think people are focusing on that because he is the King of Hearts. I think that energy is prominent with him already. So that's what people may be feeling coming up or going forward.
Yeah, but the energies are something that we have the same kind of access to. The Queen of Diamonds month is going to be extremely powerful. But do you think people are going to know is because the Queen of Diamonds is in Pluto this year in the United States spread? Do you think that people are going to, what happens in October, people are going to think that the government did something as opposed to this is the alignment that's out there? Everything happens.
I said we all feel the similar energy as far as where it's shifting to.
Yeah, it's shifting to a crash. It's going to the Queen of Diamonds in Pluto in the United States spread and all of the stuff that is happening building up to this time. Has anybody changed anything? Has the spending habits changed? Have people changed in any way, shape, or fashion that would ward off a crash? No, not at all. So there has to be a crash, but the crash is coming through however the universe is set up. Whatever is doing, we get to live here for whatever reason. We're here. We get a chance to figure it out. But all of these things that are lining up are not for us to suffer, to benefit, to anything. It's to live. To live our best lives in this energy where we definitely don't get a chance to on this earth, not even just in the United States, because we have people that do this for a living. They come back here and they're able to get back into their karma. And when they get, you can look at somebody like Biden, that it took 70 something years for him to achieve what his reward. You look at Donald Trump, 70 something years to achieve his reward. And we don't necessarily look at it like that when we look at our chart to see when is our time. When are we going to get in alignment to achieve the things that we came here to get? We have stars that when you look at stars and that they faded away, they achieved their time at a young age. So there's in our cards is something that's telling us when we're supposed to be at that place. And we don't necessarily pay attention to that because we're always so busy warding off all of the trauma and the dramas and the stuff that are going on around us. And in 10 years, 20 years from now, everybody's going to be looking back saying, wow, those times were amazing. I was in those times. And then 50 and 100 years from now, people are going to say, wow, I wish I was living in those times. So so much is going on in the universe that all the time that we are privy to, but not necessarily use it to our advantage. because right now the whole shutdown that's happening that happened, we can take it back and see where this shutdown came from, why it came, what is necessary, and how. But we still don't act like that. And how many people believe that the universe has shut all of this down and is still doing these things for a reason? The purge of the earth, the purge of the energy, the purge of things that the universe is doing that we get a chance to see and for whatever reason experience. How many people are really there as opposed to being caught up in the shenanigans of what they're doing? The deception of it all, the deception. Because regardless, if and this is the power that we overlook, because regardless of you taking a shot or not, how does that affect you? How does that affect you? You decide you don't want to take it, you don't take it. If you take it, you take it. How do you now swallow all of the trauma and the karma that goes with it? And so many people have so many karmic things that they bring forth from their childhood, from their parents, and they stay in that place of adding more trauma to them and not understanding that it's you. The 10 of spades is you. It's you. It's the I. And it's you with your highest consciousness. Because it's a 1 and a 0. The 1 is you, the 0 is the void. What are you going to do in that void? What are you going to do to heal yourself? What are you going to do to take that walk that started those weeks ago when we were in the pure spread? When we were in the pure spread, feeling amazing, doing that work and doing the walk, you got to take that post because this is building up for a reason. Because at 53, that's in 2 weeks. The 10 of spades is in the center of the universe. So Biden is going to feel like Superman, with that energy, with that 10 of spades sitting in the center of the universe. But the Queen of Diamonds is the card that's supporting it. And the Queen of Diamonds is Pluto. So the backstory is not necessarily going to be the story that we hear or we know anything about. Because the Queen of Diamonds, that's a whole different kind of conversation talking about money. Everything that you're talking about, the health of people and stuff like that, and the Queen of Diamonds is the supportive card, and it's in Pluto. That's some potent energy. And the Queen of Spades is the Mercury card. The 10 of clubs, where this started at with Pluto, Jupiter going retrograde, is the Venus card. It's displaced in the Ace of Hearts. And the Mars is the Jack of Spades. We have an Ace of Spades, a 9 of Spades. This is all about health. It's about health. The cards are talking about health. So it happens to come up that, oh wow, there's a virus out there. Wow, what can we do to use this energy? And that's what we see. This is about our health, whether the virus is here or not. This is our health time, and we need to get our health together and prepare for where we're going. And the health starts with the whole, it's not just one thing. It's your whole system, your ecosystem that's inside of you, and what you're telling yourself. And having that conversation. My mom used to say, if you believe it, then it's going to happen. Having conversations about not feeling well. Well, then I guess you don't feel well then. And that's the conversation that you have. And we don't understand how mind over matter is, on how we heal with the words. Being afraid of something, it doesn't matter. You don't have to take the shot. The conversations that I hear, people, it doesn't matter whether they take it or not. They've already been given it. So you taking it is now just the physical part of it, but they've already made you digest all of the toxins and the poisons that will come with it either way. So you taking it as just what do you call the irony of it? Because you've already ingested everything that they needed you to ingest because you fear it. You fear it, right?
Yeah. Especially with the fear concept, and everything that's coming up with the, someone also pointed out that the North Node, it's actually been in Gemini for a while now, because I remember talking about it back in May and June. But just the fear, and the heightening of that around the virus, because, North Node always also implicates deception and things being deceiving within the media, social media, within Gemini. But with everything shifting into Virgo, all the media and news converting into the virus, and just the essence of health becoming that focus and really heightening around that particular time. So yeah, it'd just be interesting just seeing about the vaccine and how everything's being heightened in climax for another shutdown.
Yeah.
Around the fear of the virus and the vaccine and the restrictions that take place afterwards as well, with people not getting the vaccine, that battle between being vaccinated and not getting vaccinated, right?
Yeah. So what happened? Nobody got nothing that happened of any significance. 6 weeks ago. So
is that when the Delta variant came out?
I don't know.
When did they start talking about that? I don't remember either. So I was wondering, maybe that's what happened, because that wasn't something that they discussed, months ago. That's fairly recent, because I remember we were looking at the card for Delta, et cetera. So I'm wondering if that, and then with Rashad saying, everything's going to be moving into Virgo soon, which is your health.
It's your health. So we look back to the main marker is 2001. And 2001 was, everything was helter-skelter in 2001. People didn't know which way to go, what to believe. Was it an attack? Was it this? It was a lot of toxicity in 2001 around the World Trade Center. One focal point, and everything grew from there. It became so much propaganda. And all of these years later, it still hasn't been sorted out. It's still one side believes it was this one, another side believes it was that, the collateral damage, all of those things that happened from 2001. And we can just take this year and sit it right inside of 2001 and see all of the misinformation, the collateral damage, all of the things that are happening, right? So the energy is the energy. How you playing that field is how you playing that field, right? So definitely, I'm gonna look back definitely to see that what was going on. It was a very potent time for us when we went through that rebirth. We should all be remembering how we was feeling during that time. That rebirth was pretty amazing. When we went through that. It was in June, right? Wasn't it rebirth was in June. So when we went through that time in our lives, we what were we being prepared for? We weren't being prepared to be in fear. Nobody was thinking about no variant and being locked down and stuff like that, because the energy was feeling so good. So if the universe is determining that we have to go into some sort of if we need to go into some sort of, and I would say, what would you say? Some sort of protected mode, some sort of something is coming up that we have to be mindful and aware of. That's the universe, right? with this 10 of spades, and we're going into the fall and into Virgo, and to when people get sick with colds, and when kids go back to school, that first week of going back to school, if you don't have kids, there's an outbreak that first freaking week of school. Daycare, schools, and so much is going on now more than ever. There's an outbreak of something when the kids go back into schools, and it's leading into the fall of the year where their bodies have gone through the summer. And like Gina says, they've lost so much, through the summer, and not been built back up with the minerals and the things that they need to sustain themselves. We got all kind of concoctions to go back to school. My grandkids, I'm making tinctures now for my grandkids to go back to school, so they can not bring stuff home that kill people my age. The germs that they pass around, I can get my own germs, but when kids bring germs home, it's not good. That germs that they pass around are very potent. So this time of year for me is critical that they get the things that they need to, not to first miss school, and then second to be walking around the house being miserable. And now, then you have things that drive you to help you. Nighttime is the worst when you got a sick child. You're not sleeping. So for me, the benefit of getting it before, yeah, that's me. So I'm definitely putting up my stuff, making my stuff for them to start taking, so they can be great and go to school and not get the things that, whatever's out there. I have quite a few family members right now that have the variant. And it's a cold, it's an annoyance, it's a cough. And because they're not afraid, it's doing what it's doing, and it's moving through them. But if you're afraid of it and you're in fear of it, and you go to the doctor and you go to the hospital, and all kind of things start getting the dis-ease sets up inside of your spirit, it's a problem. Because it is. Because there's something out there that's more deadlier than this. It always is. Because that's the world we live in. There's something that's feeding on something right now that we don't even know anything about, that we get protected from, right? So that's good stuff. Everybody on the stages, they're in another world, guys. They're just, I don't know, soaking up that King of Hearts energy.
I'm trying to go back to 2001. I'm like, gosh, that's because I was like middle school. So it's like I was thinking about, like everything that was going around with me around that time frame. But it's interesting, like that fear that I do remember, like having a sort of fear and like sadness of that event. And I really didn't, I wasn't into like, the planets and things like that, but just kind of remembering that fear, and then coming back to now that I am more in tune, I definitely see how they are co-opting, trying to co-opt that fear within us. I'm just kind of looking at everything from that perspective. So it's interesting. And then just like how you were saying, how that plays into like the kids going to school, people, when it comes to their children, like people don't play about their children. So that's it's interesting how you would see them using the kids as a way to, get people fearful of everything that's going on, and how that will affect your home life and things like that. So it's really interesting when you really pay attention to everything that they're doing, and it makes you, become more self-aware of what you need to be doing by seeing how hard they're going with trying to get people fearful in their feelings.
During that time period, there was a lot going on. Yeah, I think the DC sniper was around that time period. Anthrax was around that time period as well. So it was a lot of activity, and then just going forward as well. I don't even know or see them going back to school for very long, to be honest. I mean, I can't say exactly what may happen, but looking at considering the oppositions as well as with Pluto in the moon with Venus during Virgo season around the 8th and 11th, and also Jupiter and Mercury in opposition, I think there's going to be a debate if they should go back to school coming up as well. So